he's a dreamer.
Hi there, this is John Frenay, the co-host of the Maryland Crabs podcast, welcoming you to the 7th Annual Annapolis Film Festival. The film festival runs from March 21st to 24th with a full slate of more than 70 films. The festival includes 4 days of films, panels, parties, showcases, coffee talks, Q&As with filmmakers, directors, producers, and much, much more. Get through the door and into your seat watching some of the 70-plus great films that the Annapolis Film Festival is bringing to us once again for the 7th year.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you, every time I drive up Main Street and I see the flags change on the light poles and it says the Annapolis Film Festival, I say, John, you got to get your ass over to West Annapolis to talk to Patti and Lee from the Annapolis Film Festival. I am so excited this time of year. There's certain events that happen every time in Annapolis. I mean, I think as much of a mess as croquet can be, that's, a huge thing. Boat shows, love them or hate them. Mm-hmm. And certainly the Annapolis Film Festival, it just brings a whole different air to the town, which is really, really kind of cool. And you get to see, my thing is that you get to see so many people that you don't normally see out and about. You got the curmudgeons that are like, oh, I never go downtown. And they're out here, they're loving it, they're re-exploring their city.
That's true.
And their most important thing is they're re-exploring messages that you guys bring to everybody. For those that are just joining us or don't know who we're talking about Patti White and Lee Anderson, who are the founders, the directors, there's a movie kind of a name, producers of the Annapolis Film Festival, which is now going into its 7th, which is absolutely fantastic. I do remember when we talked and you said 5 years was sort of like the bellwether. It was like, okay, if we make it through 5, there's a really good chance we got something here. And you've done it, and how. You just look back on the first day. I was having a discussion with somebody about the opening night films for all of them, and we couldn't quite do it. I'll talk to you when we're done. But, we've gone from James E. Boyd, which I think was the first year.
No, it was the second year.
First year was about the Cuban Missile Crisis.
It was.
See, you guys don't even know.
No, it was
It's two women's names. It was called something and something. Wait. I'll think of it.
But I mean, we've had Rob Reiner that has come here. Right. Last year, there was. I mean, the slate of films last year was phenomenal, and you're seeing them all out on there. I mean, the one that's getting acclaim right now is, I think it changed names. Was it Three Perfect Strangers?
Three Identical Strangers.
Three Identical Strangers. They changed names a little bit, maybe.
No, it's always been Three Identical Strangers.
That's a great film.
It's just been phenomenal. So I'm really excited to hear and see what's new about the festival itself, and if you're able to divulge some of the secrets of what we might be able to see when it rolls around on March 21st.
I'll give you a few hints.
Okay. And you guys always have a theme, though, which is very neat. Common theme throughout the whole thing has been voices strong. And
minds open.
Voices strong, minds open. You've addressed LGBT, you've addressed racism, equality.
Women's issues.
Last year was sort of a sexual assault kind of a theme that was in there of a lot of the films, I think. So what do we got this year?
Well, first of all, our theme this year is truth and storytelling. And we came to that for many reasons. Just what's happening in the world, the relevancy of that subject matter today, the tribute that we wanted to have to our friends from the Capital-Gazette that faced such a horrible, tragic outcome. And we decided that this was the year that we wanted to explore what truth and storytelling really is about, because there's so much fake things
news
now. Well, not just in the news, but people also don't really understand what narrative feature storytellers are trying to do. And they're not always true stories, but they're trying to be true to characters. Authenticity is the word. How can you be authentic?
In a world that has blurred lines.
Yeah. No, we're in a very strange place. And, you referenced the Capitol shooting on June 28th. That was just such a surreal day for everybody that was here. Yeah. It continues to be surreal days for everybody that's here, and a lot more surreal for some specific people that were involved with that,
yes.
That have gone on, that have found the strength to go on. They've told their stories, which I think has just been very powerful. I know that and we'll get to it a little bit later, but you've got a nod to the Capitol in your artwork this year.
We do.
We most definitely do. And we're very proud of the way it was created, but even more proud that once we released the poster and had the poster released, the community has really responded well to that. And I think it's part of the healing.
Let's talk about the festival first. Are there any new things? I mean, I know periodically we've switched up venues and,
Well, we have the Bowen Theater, which has been transformed into a black box styled
that's right.
theater.
The new theater in the basement of Maryland Hall.
And
No
it has,
longer.
We can't call it a gym anymore, can we?
no, it also
No.
has developed sound, so to speak.
Well, you won't hear the rat-a-tat-tat of the old heating and air conditioning system, and it won't be this hollow echo of the wooden floors and walls.
Sound is good.
It's very nicely done. They put a lot of time and effort and cost into it.
And we have digital cinema projection, the DCP in there, so you'll be seeing it on the same thing.
Is that a permanent thing in there?
Yes.
Yes, it will
Okay.
be, as of this week, it's being hung. They had to test the load bearing in the ceiling, but it's about 800 pounds.
Because
so,
I
yeah.
know throughout the year you guys have been involved in sponsoring films that have shown up there, and I think that we saw each other in the sort of the dead of winter.
Roger Ailes.
Yep, when you had
Yes.
the Roger Ailes story.
Yeah.
Sold out room.
Right.
And Maryland Hall has really sort of come into their own over the last 10 years with the renovation of the main auditorium.
Yes.
The exhibits that they're bringing in, and certainly the basement, which gives you the ability to do anything. And then they've got the ability to move the sets in and the green rooms and everything else. So it's really been a tremendous asset to the community.
Right. And their deal with Ram's Head, where they bring live music, and
Right.
it all helps to elevate the community. And we're, the great thing about the Annapolis Film Festival, our full-on festival may only be 4 days once a year. But, we're working on the footprint of having a film a month as part of our film society to come. However, having a film festival once a year still opens everybody up to the arts throughout the year. I mean, this is once you get people in and you get them into it and you get them totally turned on to watching films and hearing stories, they're going to be open to all kinds of arts after that. Uh-huh. So we're feeling that we're helping open up all the arts in the community and make it a blended audience.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. What else is happening new this year? Do we have? I know at one point we tried to get food trucks, and then Annapolis poo-pooed that downtown, and so you put them just outside of downtown.
We can only have them at Maryland Hall or Asbury.
Right.
We're not allowed to have them at St. John's and other parts of the city, like the Green Street Elementary School. But I think the thing that's happening is people learn how to fest. They're learning how to navigate. They're learning how to plan ahead. They're learning how to get around, and they know where the venues are. And they have come to learn that the films are all good. We don't just sell out and stuff our empty slots with a couple leftovers. And we're really picky, and we work so hard to bring you the best films. And now people are realizing, oh my God, I saw that months ago at the Annapolis Film Festival, and it's just out.
I will say that I've yet to see a crappy film here, and I have been.
You've been looking for one?
I did. There was one that had the potential. I got to tell you, and it was better than it was better than
I was worried the year we had the one about the sex offenders. Remember that one?
Was that in Miami?
Yeah.
That was absolutely
fascinating.
That was really deep and really
very good film.
Because I had read an article in New Yorker magazine or something about about it that was there.
But it's a real issue and a real problem. Where do you put these people in a community where people can accept it?
Here's the thing. We are programming for our audience. We have come to know what the Annapolis audience likes and wants to go to, but they are learning what we are feeding them as well. So it's not like, here, eat your spinach, but in a way, we're going to show you some films that you may not have wanted to see or thought you would ever want to go spend time watching. And then you get in there and you go, wow, this was an experience. Maybe I didn't think it was super entertaining in that way, but I learned something. I felt something. I grew. And we want to do that too. So we want to entertain you. We want to make you laugh. We want to make you cry. We want to make you feel something. And we want to change the way you see things.
That's the voice of strong minds open.
That's what it is.
And
it's like spinach wrapped in a Twinkie.
Yeah, let's create that, John.
And at the end, you sit there and you go.
That should be the little snack of the Annapolis Film Festival.
You mean there was spinach in that?
Yeah. It's like, really? Okay, well, that wasn't
It just
horrible.
tasted like a Twinkie to me.
Let me have another one. And which is really great. I mean,
There's
I think
plenty of them.
I'm sitting here slowly looking over Patty's shoulder, trying to see what films are here.
It's our very high-tech method of blocking with sticky notes and white foam core boards with the schedule.
There are a lot of things that we're just not 100% firm on right this second. that we probably won't talk about, but there are some things that are. One of the things we are about to announce that our opening night film is The Public, which is the new film to open probably in April sometime by Emilio Estevez. He wrote it, directed it, and stars in it. And it's a compelling film about a very current subject. It's based on a true story from a 2007 incident in Cincinnati when homeless people who were using the public library there to get warm during a freeze were kind of asked to leave at the end of the day, and they didn't want to because they were dying on the streets.
The other shelters were overflowing. There was no room.
There was no place for them. And so they stayed there, and Estevez plays the librarian who has got a heart, and he's got a moral dilemma to deal with because he's got, the city government, the officials, the DA, and all these people who want to get them out.
The chief of police and the DA. So the chief of police is Alec Baldwin. Mm-hmm. He's great because he's always great. But Christian Slater kind of plays the jerk DA who's trying to use it as his media moment to be tough.
Okay. And they're the reporters that are standing outside trying to get this true story, so to speak,
and then it has Jenna Malone, who's like the other young librarian that looks up to Emilio. And then the girlfriend of Emilio in the film is Taylor Schilling from The Orange is the New Black.
Right. There are a lot of parallels to, what's going on real life.
And in our town. Here. Yeah, because we're building a public library.
Right. Which is going to become a center for the city like it is in many cities.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so we have a big homeless shelter here, the Lighthouse Shelter, which we all love and support.
And the new shelter is even having 2 positions for social workers within the new library. I don't know if people know that, but we just learned that because that is becoming sort of the last bastion of democracy in our community. Mm-hmm. And it provides so many things from kids after school that need somewhere safe to go, to homeless people that need a meal, to other people wander in as that sort of safe place in the community to learn and be accepted, and people meet them on their own level.
Emilio Estevez, who had a real passion for doing this story, I mean, his big theme in this is we need to save our public libraries. We need to grow our public libraries. They answer a lot of questions for a community.
They're the archive.
Are part of it,
they're the archive of our government and our experience. Much like the Capital-Gazette is an archive of our local community experience. The library is like our federal, national, international experience.
But here's the great part about this movie. It's got a lot of humor on top of the drama because it has the natural...
Emilio Estevez and Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, well, exactly. But it's also got that sense of authenticity that we were talking about. And when you get a bunch of homeless people in a room and that have wonderful personalities and characters, there's different unique characters in everybody, and you've got Estevez is facing his own dilemmas, his own personal relationship problems, and you see all of that. I mean, it's a good all-around movie, and it's great for opening night.
And it has an inspirational and somewhat surprising comedic ending.
Yes, definitely.
So it's a great way to kick off the festival.
And we're hoping that everybody can come out. We're going to stream downstairs in the new Bowen. So we have room for a lot of people for opening night.
880 seats. So do not delay, because when they sell out, we'll have to see after RSVPs come in from our pass holders, which is new this year. Please ask all pass holders to RSVP on our website because we have to do this because different amounts of people get different amounts of passes, but we don't have any way of knowing if they're using all of them.
Just for opening night, you have to RSVP, not for the rest of the festival, just opening night.
Correct.
There'll be something that tells you to RSVP and just do it, and how many people are coming.
So you say that the opening night film is going to be shown on essentially 2 screens.
Correct.
Yeah, at the same time simultaneously.
And we will live stream any intros and Q&A downstairs to the lower screen so that people sitting downstairs can see what's happening upstairs.
See what's happening.
They'll be part of it. Yeah.
Technology is wonderful, isn't it?
Yes, it's
we've been doing that. This is our
growing.
3rd year to do that.
And
I mean, if we get enough people to move down there, so
I think we will.
I remember that at one point you had your opening night at the Naval Academy one year.
Yes, we did.
Correct.
And that was sold out, standing room only. Sorry, you can't. There's no room in the inn.
Right.
And I think that was a great move, moving it back over to
Maryland
Hall. I think you had a conflict with a ballet or something or other that was going on.
Right. We're working with the symphony, with Maryland Hall, and everyone's trying to work through everybody else's schedule. So we all have a situation that it works for all of us, which is what's great about a community like this,
Well, as I look at the at your little whiteboards here. I'm looking at the different venues that you've got. I mean, you've got Maryland Hall and the Bowen Theater, which are 2 venues in one location, which makes it very nice, especially if it rains. Asbury United Methodist Church, which is right down on West Street, just the second block of West Street, I think it is.
They've been a wonderful partner, and it's the oldest African-American church in town.
In town. And surprisingly, I love the acoustics in there.
They're great, and the seats are pretty comfortable too, surprisingly.
For a
good
wooden
place
pew,
to see a
wooden
film.
pew, they're not bad. And then Annapolis Elementary School, which is, I would say that would be the walk, if you will.
But it's a great venue.
And then we also have St. John's on Friday and Saturday.
And St. John's.
Saturday and Sunday.
Which is a great auditorium as well because they've got lots of legroom.
Yes, they do.
What other, do we know any of these films?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean, have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Not yet,
but you will be.
But you will be.
So, we have our showcases, so we can start with that. The only one we're not ready to talk about yet is our African-American experience because we're just waiting for the sign-off.
That's a tradition for you. You guys have had that every single year.
Every year.
We're very committed to that.
We're committed to it. This year we have moved it. We used to have it on Friday evening, and this year we've moved it to 5, I think it's going to be 5:30 on Saturday afternoon. 5:30 to 7:30, which is great. It gives people a chance to go and then go do something afterwards, go to more movies, go to dinner, and have a wonderful experience. We're working on a film. We should have it soon, but we just aren't ready to say what that is yet. But I can just tell the audience that plan to come to this event. It's going to be great. It always is great, and you're going to enjoy it.
Also, we have our environmental showcase on Friday.
And that's a third year?
No, from the beginning.
I think we've had it from the beginning. Yep,
from the beginning. And this year, every year, everybody wants a water-based film because we're here on the Chesapeake, but we have a really great film.
Terrific film.
It's called The Biggest Little Farm, and it's about sustainable farming, which does impact, you see more and more farm-to-table restaurants around here, like Metropolitan, like Evelyn's, like all of these places. Right, exactly.
Let me just tell you something about this film. This film is winning an award everywhere it goes. It's been at Sundance. It's been at all the top festivals. It is a terrific family film. It's a filmmaker and his wife,
who's originally from Baltimore, John Chester.
Right, but they basically were making films and moved to L.A. and they decided to buy a little farm, a farmette, an hour outside of L.A. And they go out there and they have no idea what to do, what to do with it. They're not farmers, but they want to do this and they want to grow organic food and they want to live right. And they get into this thing and it's hilarious. I mean, it's
follow
fun.
their journey.
It's the animals, it's the food,
everything.
It's their crises, they don't know
the weather, it's
everything that happens to them.
It's such a fun film.
But people love this film. So we're going to show it for our environmental showcase and hopefully have some speakers and whatever on Friday at 12:30.
And then rerun it again.
And then we're going to rerun it again on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning at St. John's because we think that's kind of the family film of the people can bring their kids. It's got a lot of farm animals. It's just the coolest thing.
It's about nature and it's great.
Yeah.
So we're excited to have that. And that's a Maryland tie, actually, to it. But then the other showcases we have, of course, African American that we mentioned on Saturday. We also have our Jewish experience that comes with Bagels, Lox, and Coffee by Baltimore Coffee and Tea Company, and 2 films. It's like a double feature with a break in between. So the first one is a film called The Interpreter. It was the Slovakian entry for Academy Award consideration. That sounds obscure and bizarre, but it's a fabulous film, and it's basically the story of the son of a Holocaust survivor knocks on the door of the son of the SS. And that starts this journey, which sounds very serious, becomes almost a comedic road trip of reconciliation. It's a wonderful film.
And then the second film, which is kind of just a real audience pleaser, a straight up documentary about the major league Jewish baseball players from this country who decide that they're asked and then they decide to go to Israel, to make the trek to Israel to be part of the Israeli national baseball team. And a lot of them have never really been practicing and they don't know that much about their religion, some of them, and have never been to Israel, some of them. And so this is a whole experience where they go on this journey of finding themselves, their roots, and then they end up playing for Israel. And it's if you love, I mean, let's face it,
love baseball.
Where it's the late March, the beginning of baseball season, it's a whole new way of looking at baseball.
It's called Heading Home.
Heading Home. It's called Heading Home, the tale of Team Israel.
And then we have our what we used to call our sailing showcase. It's a boating showcase this year because we found this great film we feel compelled to bring, and we're going to have some guests with it. A young couple in their, late 30s, I guess?
Yeah,
decide, but they embark
they're
on this.
They're not married. They're actually
a couple
they're actually dealing with their relationship. Right.
Okay.
So they leave South Africa in something no longer.
No, they leave Morocco.
Morocco, sorry.
Right,
they leave Morocco in something no larger than like maybe about a 25-foot, it would amount to be a giant rowboat with a little cabin on the back, and they decide to row 6,000 miles across the Atlantic to New York City.
And they have it decked out with 9 GoPros.
They should have gone with a small farm outside of LA.
But they have the 9 GoPros on their boat, so you see everything that's happening in their lives. Wow. And you're on this journey with them. They're from South Africa originally.
Yes,
so they are dealing with their relationship, they're dealing with the sea, they're dealing with their boat turning over, they're
the weather.
Dealing with
they have to depend on one another. One person can't row the boat. They need both of them.
Circles.
They have highs and lows and the most incredible journey, and you're with them the whole way, and you feel like you're with them. I mean,
is this a feature film or is this a
it's
short?
a
feature
documentary.
Feature doc.
It's called Sea Change, and it's going to be at 10 o'clock on Sunday at Maryland Hall, which is where we usually have our boating, sailing, yachting situation. Right. And so we're excited to have that film. And that's one for the sailors, even though they're not flying sails. And we also have one that actually does have sailboats in it. It's called Styx. And
it's a German film.
It's a European, German film. And it's about a narrative film. It's a woman, emergency room doctor who is she's just completely stressed out from her job. And she's finally, after a rough day, gets down to her sailboat, which she has outfitted and fixed for her journey down the coast of Africa for a vacation. And she goes off and solo sails down the coast of Africa until she comes upon a boat.
Well, there's a terrible storm.
And then there's a huge boat that's in trouble.
There's this boat in trouble and people signaling for help, and the other boat is clearly sinking.
Yeah,
and
we don't really want to tell much more about it.
She's faced with a moral dilemma.
Right.
That I think is very interesting to explore
at
this point because, she's taken an oath to save lives. So it's a very good film. This German actress is very well known in Europe. It's just a terrific film. So, and then we have some military films this year.
Yes.
One is a bit edgy. We felt obligated to sort of bring it. It's a bit of a whistleblower type of film. It's about 2 guys that went to the U.S. Naval Academy and went on to fly H-53, the big Huey helicopters. And
it's called Who Killed Lieutenant Van Dorn?
Correct. And what happens is that through government defense contracting, as those are phased out, money for repairs and parts are siphoned and refocused to other needs. So these guys are forced to fly and train, and they know that their parts wearing out and things aren't good. Right. And this guy's trying to ask for help countless times to write to COs and warn people. So basically, this machine becomes the helicopter that 72 military people die in non-combat action because of machine failure. And then it goes on to explore some other things about new laws surrounding who's liable for defense contractor things, which is really important because we're in a Navy town and people should know this.
Sure.
Right.
We'll have that film, and then we have another incredible feature documentary
called The Interpreters, not to be confused with The Interpreter. Right. So we have a confusion in our festival this year.
We've had
The
that one other
Interpreter
time,
is
too.
A narrative film that's in our Jewish experience, which Lee described. This is The Interpreters, which is a documentary based on the interpreters, what they called the interpreters. They were the fixers, the Afghani and Iraq fixers that the American soldiers relied on to do everything for them. And these men literally put their lives at risk every single day. They could have been killed by their countrymen and their governments. And they really went way out. And the relationships that formed between these men, from our soldiers and these interpreters.
So it's on the relationship between our soldiers and
this unlikely relationships that would have never formed, and the bonds were so strong that when the men came home to America, they still tried to help these men.
What happened is that the transition period for the translators to get like citizenship was like 2 years, and every day they're living in fear of being killed by the Taliban.
So too much of
it's a very interesting battle about loyalty and friendship and people fighting for the right thing.
Very neat. Well, you've mentioned a couple times, Lee, that people will speak. And again, one of my favorite things with the film festival is the panels. I mean, you've got them at, are you having them again at Chesapeake Brewing?
We have coffee talks.
Coffee talks there.
And then we have our panels at the Powerhouse across from the Hotel Annapolis.
Right. And then, but you also typically have in some of your features
Q&As.
Q&As.
You'll have
as many as we
a
can.
Director, a producer, an actor, or whatever.
Still doing that.
To sit there and discuss that. And I think that's one of the most unique things about a film festival. And I readily admitted that the very first film festival I ever attended was the Annapolis Film Festival. So I didn't know what to expect the first year. And I've become to love it, more and more each year. But I think it's just fabulous when you sit there and you look at a film and you can walk away with your own impression as to what it was. And you can say, I just didn't get that. Or that just really stunk, or that was just, oh my gosh, that was great, or maybe I missed the premise entirely, which is not unusual for me. But but to sit there and see somebody explain how their thought process was, how it was actually made. I'm not talking about so we rolled the film and did everything else, but this is what we were going at when we did this, and the audience interaction where you can sit there and say, hey, the one part in the film when you did this, I know in Beirut they were talking. It was like how did that? And it was like to sit there and hear somebody say, this is it, then you're like, aha.
Right. That's what happened.
Yeah. Voice is strong and a mind open again.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the interpreters, we have the director of that film coming. So, this is going to be really great because people will be able to ask a lot of questions.
That is part of the magic of the festival. And, our filmmakers give us feedback every year, too. So not only do we get audience feedback, we actually ask our guests, what do they think of our festival? What could we do to improve? And they always say the same thing, which is, you have some of the smartest and most engaged audiences we've ever screened in front of. And they love that. If you think about why a filmmaker makes a film and spends probably a minimum of a year and a half of their life dedicated to that, they wait for that moment to be in front of somebody and have somebody ask a really good question.
Well, I remember, and I'm going to draw a blank on the name, Burn the Map?
Burn Your Maps.
Ooh, look at that. I pulled that from 2 years ago.
That's good.
And there was I remember the director or the producer.
Jordan Roberts.
Was in the back of the room. Going like, so I wonder how this is going to go over. And all of a sudden everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is...
It got a standing ovation.
And to sit there and see that has got to be really special.
Right.
That's only the third film at the festival that has gotten a standing ovation like that.
What were the other ones?
LBJ and Jamesy Boy.
Yeah, well, that's because it was local.
This opening night, too. This was the only non-opening night film that ever got a standing ovation at the end, which was really exciting.
LBJ was Woody Harrelson, right?
Yeah,
correct.
Woody Harrelson and Rob Reiner directed.
Yep.
So we have a couple our big spotlight Friday night is 8 o'clock Friday night at Maryland Hall is called Villains, and it's a dark comedy. And so you have to be prepared when you go into it.
Or as I said when I asked one of the producers, so who are the good guys? No one.
But that's in a funny way, So it's some very interesting humor. And the two co-directors are coming for that film. It was co-written and co-directed by a couple of guys that have been out in New York and L.A. They were New York NYU grads years ago. They're probably in their mid to late 30s. And they're very talented, and they do a lot of different things with it. Tim and Trevor actually produced it.
Okay.
And it stars Kira Sedgwick, Jeffrey Donovan, and Micah Monroe, and Bill Skarsgård.
So it's got a great cast, and it's going to be a fun evening because the cinematographer is here as well, and he's also shot another film. So 5 of them will be on the stage to take people through the humor and the craziness of this fun movie, crazy fun movie. Another spotlight we have is Wild Rose, which is Jesse Buckley.
Actually, Patti's son Trevor is predicting this might be an audience favorite this year.
He says the audiences love this film, and even though it's kind of... There are no subtitles, and even though it's Scottish, it's English and Scottish. Sometimes the brogue is heavy, and you have to listen. But Jessie Buckley plays the young wannabe singer. She's down on her luck. She's just getting out of prison for doing something. She's got 2 kids at home that her mother's taking care of. She's a mess. Everything she does is a mess.
But she has a dream.
But she goes to work for a person to clean someone's home, and that person starts to take an interest in her, and they hear her sing, and they realize she has this dream to be a country singer in Nashville. That's her goal in life.
Scottish
girl, but she wants to go to Nashville.
Scottish girl in cowboy boots.
So it's her journey on this and how life keeps beating her down, but how, it's got a ultimate inspirational ending. And it's quite a interesting film.
Wild Rose?
Wild Rose.
Wild Rose.
And that's your sleeper.
It could be. It could be our sleeper. It premiered in Toronto. It's going to South by Southwest. Yeah. Or it's been at South by in Toronto, and now it'll be with us.
Also, what we have, our other spotlights are, which one do you want to do next?
Well, we have another spotlight
out of Sundance?
That's just out of Sundance called Them That Follow, and that's a drama.
It's a little bit it's thriller-ish.
It's a little bit of a thriller, but it's a pastor in West Virginia of a church that uses snake handling as a part of the religion.
Right.
And this is the daughter of the pastor, and they're very seriously religious in this town. And the daughter is sort of having this secret relationship with one of these young men who have left the church. And they're trying to get her married off to someone who's within the church. And it's a dark story, and it's intense, but it's so well done. I mean, this is a fresh Sundance film.
And if you just watch the Oscars, Olivia Colman, who won for The Favorite, is in this film. She just won Best Actress. So.
Right. So this is definitely worth having a look at.
Okay. And that one was called what?
Them That Follow. Right. And we have General Magic, which is... you go ahead, Lee.
I love this one. I'm a tech nerd anyway. Mm-hmm. So for those of you that never heard of a company called General Magic, it existed before Apple. And it was the brainchild of some people that encouraged these MIT grads to think out of the box with the what ifs, we could do this. And it's all of these people that have basically laid the groundwork for the technology that makes things work today, like our cell phones and the internet. And they are this band of outlaws in the 80s, but they were the brains but didn't have the marketing. So they lost the battle. Apple won the marketing war, and they faded into obscurity. But today, if you meet them, a lot of them founded things like Twitter and things we all use. And this is the backstory of before the tech breakthrough of these people. We're going to have two of the subjects in the film that are in the film in the 80s, and they're now going to be here in real life today to talk about it.
It's very cool.
General Magic.
General Magic. Yeah, the logo is a top hat with pulling a rabbit out of a hat was the logo of the company.
And that's going to be like at 12:30 on Saturday afternoon at St. John's. So we have a ton of things.
That's on my list. I'll go see that one.
That's a great one.
You'll definitely like that one. Also, just to end the film ones, we should definitely say that we are having a special screening of the Joseph Pulitzer film, which
Voice of the People.
Called Voice of the People. And, Joseph Pulitzer, of course, was the sort of grandfather of journalism, and he advocated for the poor.
Yep.
He advocated for the truth, and all the things that are current today. It's a whole film, a story about him and what he went through and what the times.
And he was competing with William Randolph Hearst at the time.
That was the ultimate
highly
battle.
competitive.
Right up in New York.
Yeah, but I mean, he was being the voice of the people. I mean, taking the press, which is what we're doing this year, talking about truth and storytelling. So what we want to do here is have a bit of a panel Q&A afterwards, and we're going to have some interesting investigative journalists and people on that panel. We've invited the Capital-Gazette to come, so we're hoping someone from the Gazette, one or two people from the Gazette come. And we're going to make that our tribute film to the Capitol.
Those who tell the story.
Yep, those who tell.
Now, when is that showing?
That will be 2:30 on Saturday afternoon at Maryland Hall.
That's a main event for us. I mean, it's really, we feel very strongly that we want to support all storytellers, but specifically those in our own community.
This year, our shorts have some interesting. It's kind of was born out of Derek, our Derek Horn, our director of programming, who always does these great titles for shorts.
Last year was icons or emoticons.
And the year before was Shakespeare. And this year he said, "I'm not going to do any."
We said, "Yes, we have to."
And he said, "No, I'm not going to do it. Let's just do shorts 1, 2, 3, and 4." So I said, "Okay, 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, 4 let's go." So that's what we decided to do as kind of a joke, and it stuck. And actually the
working.
films fit perfectly into that category. So Chuck Winonso's film will be in shorts 1 for the money.
Chuck Winonso,
it's called The Bride Price.
Yes, Chuck Winonso, Angel Durecki. If you can say that 10 times fast, you get a prize.
I remember last year I tried to avoid saying it once.
So she will be introducing our Shorts Challenge this year, which is Saturday morning at 10 o'clock at Maryland Hall.
Right.
And we're very excited about it because we feel it was successful the first year. And, emerging filmmaker was able to make a film because of our package. And she's able to bring it back to our festival. This is what we've wanted, that we can share with our audiences. And now we have the theme this year, because of the theme of our festival, is truth and storytelling.
Right.
So 5 new pitches.
So we had, we had many submissions,
5
but
finalists.
we have picked 5 finalists. And one of them is from this area originally, but she lives in New York and is now moving to Arizona to make a film. Her name is Aura de Kornfeld.
Okay.
So she's been selected as a finalist, and the other 4 are from various parts of California. One is from Stanford, 2 from USC Film School, who have graduated, are either there or graduating, and the other one is from they're not in school; they're filmmakers. It's a filmmaker from Los Angeles who has a short in our festival, who also is bringing his pitching partner with him.
Well, the one thing in the Shorts Challenge that last year that sort of surprised me a little bit is that I thought, and I get their pitching and there's nervous and everything else, but there were some that were just so well polished and ready to go. I mean, it was slick, and obviously it made a difference because you had a lot of real muckety-mucks in the film industry.
Right.
Yes.
Judging this.
Yes,
I mean, this wasn't like, hey, what are you doing now? Come here, sit down and tell me
Shark
what you
Tank
like.
meets The Voice.
It is. And actually, I mean, we couldn't do this without the support of the Maryland Film Office. I have to say that because they provide a grant that
Jack
enables us
Gervis
to bring all these filmmakers and house all these filmmakers and put on the Shorts Challenge. And
it's up thanks to them.
And Jack
that we're
was
able to do
on
it.
one of the judges last year.
And I felt bad for some of them that weren't as polished.
Right.
But again,
But that's the world.
I think as it grows, as
Right.
people start to know about it, it's like, okay, no, you need to bring your A game here.
I'm telling you, we're going to have more of an A game this year because I've been in touch with every single one of them, told them what they need to do to prepare, and they know, they have an understanding. I think we're going to be wowed this year. I really do. I think the decision's going to be difficult.
It will be. And, that's a really interesting point you raised because it's the real world. Like, if you're a young filmmaker, you have to learn how to pitch. You'll never get anything made. So they may be learning in this microcosm, but they'll learn a lot. And they all get feedback from the judges. The judges provide a tremendous amount of feedback, which is also a learning opportunity for everybody.
I've told them that just by being a finalist, you've won. Because whether you get this package and can make that film, what you're going to take home from this experience of being at the festival, networking at the festival, hearing what these judges have to say about your project, learning how to pitch properly. I mean, I can go through 10 more items, These things, no one can take those away from you.
These 5 finalists will all be on the red carpet for opening night. We're bringing them in early to experience the entire festival, and they have earned their way there.
Well, also, we feel that as we grow with this festival, that this is a very important part for us because this is part of the Voices Strong Minds Open. I mean, to be able to have 5 finalists of young people who have different voices, saying different things, telling different stories, competing, on one level against each other, but also sharing each other's journey. This is a big part of who we are. So we are so excited to have them on the red carpet. They're part of our stars, you know what I mean? Because they are the emerging stars of the future.
Well, the film festival is March 21st to March 24th. It is at Maryland Hall, at Asbury United Methodist Church, Annapolis Elementary School, St. John's Key Auditorium, and a couple different venues for parties. I mean, you mentioned the Powerhouse at the former Lowe's, at the Annapolis Hotel, I think it's called now. And then,
That's where our panels are there.
Coffee talks.
Coffee talks in the morning.
The way to do this, and it's more expensive than buying an individual ticket, but it is well worth it. Get a pass.
Let me explain the benefit of a pass because I think some people are unclear. They don't understand when somebody buys a pre-purchased ticket. They think the pass enables them to get in before that person. But the truth is that person specifically purchased that ticket. It's equal. The benefit of a pass is the ease with which you can fest. So you don't have to get in the ticket line to get the ticket and then get in the entry line. When you have a pass, you can make a last-minute decision and say, oh, rats, that looks so full. I'm going to jump to this other film.
Show it at
Boom.
the door, scan it.
And you're in. You don't have to mess with it. It saves time and energy. You can probably fit in more films for the amount of time you spend at the festival.
You can go to all the panels.
You've got 70 films.
Right.
70 plus films.
Right.
Correct.
And, I mean, to buy tickets for 10 or 12
$15
or whatever they may be
Yeah,
is
like
ridiculous.
$15. Yeah.
Well,
Take
we
a
only
pass
have a limited number of passes left, and once they sell out, you have to buy tickets. So I try to explain that every year, but I think people are getting it now.
Well, plus you get into opening night and the opening night after party with your pass, and that's a
And Best of Fest.
$50 ticket. I mean, right there. So
Our Best of Fest is Sunday,
Right.
And for those of you that don't know, it's our award ceremony. It's the culmination of this whole cinematic experience, and we're voting. Audience votes matter. Because audience votes help distributors and filmmakers. You know, it tells a distributor there's an audience for that film. So, you know, this year you'll scan your pass or ticket on the way in, which means you're actually in the screening. And you scan on the way out and touch an iPad and you push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, and it's in real time. And it's, you know, we know what's tallies are and what's happening and resonating with people. And we may do some reruns on Sunday of the most popular films if we can. But at the award ceremony, you know, there are juried awards, which is our esteemed jury, it's like the Academy Awards. It's like your colleagues, or esteemed people that you aspire to be judging your film. And the audience award that was our favorite. Yeah. So those are all announced in a ceremony.
And we have jury awards for every film this year, for every part of the program.
Every
genre,
if you will.
So they'll be announced and at the Best of Fest. And the Shorts Challenge will be announced at the Saturday Bash we put out there, and it'll be also awarded at the Best of Fest.
That's right. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Get your passes at AnnapolisFilmFestival.com. Did I get that right, or did I screw it up?
Yes, and there's an easier way to sign up for eBlast now on the website. There's a little drop down. You can sign up if you want to get the latest information as we head into festival. We're going to be pushing out lots of specific information about the films that we mentioned, and you can see trailers on Facebook. But sign up for eBlast. You'll get something about every other day in the next couple of weeks that'll tell you a lot more about what you can do, what you can see, what you can explore, and share with your friends.
And I will say that with the eBlast, you'll get something like every other day during the festival season. They don't do this stuff
this is just leading up.
You won't be getting this stuff in August and September. And
just enjoy it now for what it is, and it'll help you fest. It'll help you figure out how to navigate through the whole process and make the most of it.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have taken us through the nuts and bolts of the thing, and we've mentioned a lot of times Joe Barson. Actually, we probably haven't mentioned Joe Barson, but that's who we're talking about, who designed your artwork for the festival for the 7th year.
We can't say enough about Joe. He is the most humble, understated, talented artist in Annapolis.
And when we work with him to come up with a concept, it's amazing how he visualizes. Like, we're talking about an issue, we're talking about something, and then he has an idea. You know, he has a way that he can put it into a visual context that, this is what we were
always
hoping.
Exceeds our expectations.
That you can't do. Well, I'll tell you what I think. I want to get with Joe and talk with him because I have seen the poster. I was at the unveiling of the poster a couple months ago. It's phenomenal. There's a lot of sublimation that you don't know is there.
That's right.
And it really brings out the whole concept of what the film festival is. It brings out voices strong, minds open. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
You did.
You did.
That was a very emotional unveiling this time.
Yeah.
Did you feel it when you were there?
It was. Yeah. It was down at the Market House.
Yep.
So I want to talk with Joe. Lee and Patti, thank you very much. I can't wait to see you on the 21st.
Yes.
See you on the red carpet, John.
See you there.
And by the magic of the internet and technology, 1 minute we're in West Annapolis talking to Lee and Patti at the Annapolis Film Festival, and just like that, we're over here in Arnold at the world headquarters of Citizen Pride /JEB Design with Joe Barson, artist extraordinaire. One of the things that we talked about, Lee and Patti, is just the brand that you bring to the film festival. I mean, they bring the movies, they bring the people. You've somehow managed to tie this in from day one. And they started this film festival in 2013. So this is the 7th year.
7th year.
Each year has a sort of an underlying theme. It may not be bold in your face like, okay, we're talking about racism in the decade, or we're talking about LGBT, but I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
And this year is no different, and we spoke about that with Lee and Patti. But your poster, your graphic that you designed this year is just absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
For those that haven't seen it, you need to see it. We've got obviously a link in the show notes, but tell us a little bit about where this came from this year.
Well, this one, I think with anything in art, when it hits home, when it hits your heart, that's when you really, dig deep and you really work extra, I guess you could say extra hard. You just really want to capture that message. And with since I'm a visual artist, it has to be visual. And also it's a poster, so you only have a few seconds for someone to understand what you're trying to say with a very limited space and imagery. And so what I'm speaking to is, of course, the shootings at the Capitol and our friends being killed, and it was very emotional for me personally. I was really good friends with Wendy Winters. She's one of the journalists that was shot, and she was a big supporter of the film festival all these years, has always been a supporter of the arts. She's interviewed my wife and I numerous times with Citizen Pride and Jeb Design. And
Wendy was an incredible person that she knew the word no, but she would never take it for an answer.
Nope. No, I mean, every time.
But you're in addition to the, and I want to get back to the poster, but I mean, your artwork is seen all over the place. I know Scott McMullen with the Annapolis podcast has you've done his logo. You did Liz Murphy with the Annapolis Pintcast and her rebranding of the Annapolis Pint. I'm going to draw a blank on the realtor's name, but there is a realtor.
Shrek. Scott Shooter, the realtor. Shrek, his call name. He was in the Navy.
Your artwork is very, very distinctive.
Thank you.
You can turn around and look at it. It's no wonder the last time we spoke, it's easy for you to see when it's been ripped
stolen,
off.
You're right. And a lot of people let me know too. They'll email me.
Tying in Wendy Winters and the Capitol shooting and the violence that we're all living with. And this poster really sort of rings out to it. I mean, up in one corner you've got Chase's sort of iconic tweet at this point saying,
so I'll read it again here. That he said, this is after the shooting. This is the day, I think the day of, that later on in the day. And he said, I can tell you this: we are putting out a damn paper tomorrow, and they did. And they there's famous photographs of them in the parking garage, working on their laptops, trying to get the edition
with Pat and Chase and Josh,
and they were part of this horrible nightmare. And so that to me, as a creative person, that's about hope. That's about moving ahead, moving past violence, and grabbing it by the horns and owning it. So that's kind of the poster was trying to speak to that. How when people look at the poster, they'll see the Capitol building, which is the icon of Annapolis, but interwoven around the Capitol building is the film reel, which is a film fest. But what I'm trying to say, and then of course it morphs into a printing press at the bottom of it, and then the film comes out through the printing press, and it's the film / newspaper coming off a press. So what that symbolizes to me, and actually the top of the Capitol forms a light, a beacon of hope that's radiating it out, and it's radiating over top of the Capitol masthead. And so that's kind of the visual I'm trying to describe.
Well, it is. I mean, one thing that struck me when I first saw it, and you debuted this at an unveiling party a couple months ago down at the Market House, was the beacon on top of the Capitol. It doesn't exist in real life, but B, it would be very easy for Annapolis to go into darkness. I think
definitely
on the heels of the shooting, just to sit there and just woe is me. But and certainly not to celebrate it. But I mean, we had Annapolis Rising, the benefit concert. Okay, and it was Annapolis Rising. You've got the sunrise. If you look at this Capitol dome that you've recreated here, and you say it's a beacon of hope, but it's a beacon of light. It's shining bright. It's shining strong, and it's to me that's the focal point of the poster, even though it's not the largest part of it. But it's just this. No, we're gonna be okay. We're shining this light strong and powerful.
And that's also speaking to freedom of the press. The light. We're not going to let the darkness come in, and also even the theme of this year is strong voices, minds open. Again, light opens the mind, and strong voices. To me, voices strong is the press and the media. I mean, trying to get. Getting information out there, the facts, and that's what the journalists try to do every day. So,
without a doubt. How long does it take you to come up with something like this? Or is this
if you talk to Lee and Patti,
concept at 2:00 in the morning? And
no, actually, it was just even I sitting on the back deck. It was summertime, and we were just talking about it. And Eva actually came with the core concept, and then I went.
And for those that aren't aware, Eva's Joe's lovely wife.
Yeah, so she and I are partners. I mean, besides just discussing concepts, she helps me with all the coloring of my posters. A lot of times, if it was up to me, everything would just be red, yellow, and black. So she's the one that comes in and helps me give a more broad spectrum. So we're truly partners in all ways. Not only our two boys.
Okay, something just dawned on me. JEB Design.
Yeah, it's Joe and Eva Barson.
Okay. Yeah. I thought E might have been like Elmer.
Well, some people think of Jeb. There's I have a lot of companies called Jeb in like South Carolina. So I get a lot of emails from those companies, and we actually have a deal now. I'll redirect their emails.
Okay. So your middle name's not Elmer.
No. Joe and Eva Barson.
Okay. So I mean, it just sort of came to you and out on the back deck.
Yep.
And
but it came before that point. I was so angry. I mean, we're talking that was in August, but July I was just besides myself. I mean, I have sketches that are just dark, So that was talking to Lee and Patti. I showed it to them, and they're like, we don't really want to go that way. And I was kind of going more the dark side, and I felt like what you were talking about, rising. That I went to that, seeing Jeff Huntington and Aaron up there doing the big mural of the Aaron's logo, which I love, the press-on logo.
Right.
And just that positive energy just kind of shifted your mind. Just kind of changed instead of looking at dark, it go to the light. And Annapolis was so much that way. We had a big community march. Had just a great gathering of the community coming out. I mean, everyone knew every one of these journalists that got killed. I mean, it was just everyone knows these people. This is not something that's
This is not L.A. This is not Chicago. This is not New York.
Yep.
This is Annapolis. This is Anne Arundel County, and it's a community.
Yeah.
And you may not have known them as well as some other people have, but nobody needs to go very far.
Yeah.
To find somebody that knows one of these, people that were killed in this.
Definitely, and the survivors. I mean, Josh, he was always there with Wendy, doing all the photography. I mean, I know Josh really well, and he lived through that, and he's still going strong now. Obviously with Chase Cook, and he as well. So you also think about them as well, as I know we all do, just how they have to keep doing it every day, even with those memories of what they went through.
Right, and then of course the ones that were the five that were in the news, six that were in the newsroom.
Yeah.
At the time that it happened.
Yeah.
So do you go to the film festival and just enjoy it as a film festival
That's
goer?
kind of my payment. Everything is pro bono, so I don't get a penny out of any of this. So it's just they give me all access pass. Even I have, and we usually have a couple extra we share with friends. And we love the parties. We love the panels. All Friday's panels. I'm just like camped out. I'm a film nerd, so
my recommendation to everybody on the film festival is put in for days off of work. Take that Thursday and Friday off.
Yeah, I was talking to. I just was getting my haircut today, and
it looks good.
Thank you. And Jean Marie is my stylist, and she's like, Joe, we're going to go to the film fest this year. Tell me all about it. And so we're talking about it, and I'm so happy to hear that, because that's, to me, the film fest is, you want everyone to go, and it's such there's so many films are showing that almost anyone and whatever you're into, they have. I mean, you can have intense stuff that's documentaries and like serious, and you'll come out like shaking afterwards. You have stuff you're laughing and dying of laughter, or you have even horror movies that went like late at night, and people are just fun date movies, and just it has everything.
Absolutely do, and they've done it's grown so much over the years. I know they used to have little tiny places where they were showing them, and now we've got a wonderful theater in the basement of Maryland Hall and the Bowen Theater. We've got the main theater of Maryland Hall, and as each year goes by, they figure a way to make it a little bit easier, a little bit better. I mean, I know there were a couple years where it was like, oh my gosh, it's down we've got something going on at the Naval Academy. Come on, we got to run.
I know, I remember that.
to figure out. So the programming and everything else has gotten much better, and I know everybody's encouraging to buy passes now, because that's the way to go. You walk in, you scan it, bloop, and you go get your seat. You don't need to worry about buying it. Don't need to worry about selling out, waiting in line, or anything like that.
That's what Jean Marie was asking me, like, how's this thing work? Film fest, because not everyone does this stuff. We always hear about Sundance and Cannes and all that, but really what the film fest is 4 days long. There's 70 movies. You're not going to see all of them. That's number one. Everyone needs to know that. You're not going to see every one. You don't go to Film Fest to say, I'm going to hit every one. You go there, you read online or read the program, the printed program, and you just kind of figure out what you're into. And the art of just trying to figure out how, okay, one's in the morning, and then maybe I can run over here in a half an hour. I got to run over here, and I can do this one, or I do a panel here. So it's kind of fun just trying to bounce around. And so you don't want like to buy one ticket. But here's another thing that's neat about, even if you can pre-plan it and go online, actually the buzz is what I get a lot. I've changed my schedule. Like I'll go to, let's say, one of the, there'll be like a party Friday night that's put on by the festival. And actually people don't know this, but a lot of these passes, you can go to these parties as part of the access fee. So when you go to these parties, you'll meet the film director, you'll meet the actors. And they're all sitting there just hanging out, having a good time. They're there to talk to you. You talk to them and say, well, I'm going to see that movie tomorrow. I just change. You take a big X through your plans, and that you just shift everything to that. You know? And then you show up there, and they're there in the audience, and they come over and talk some more, and you can talk afterwards. So I guess what I'm saying about Film Fest is you've seen films, but really that's 20%. The other giant percentage is this back and forth and talking and enjoying, and people all there because they're all into what you're watching, and just great discussions. I mean, after the 4 days of this, I almost had to take like 2 days off just to get my brain just.
As I look on the table in front of us, you've got all of your posters from day one, and the artwork that you've done has been spectacular, and you don't see a lot of the subtleties. And I think one of the subtleties you've gotten this year is the banner head of the Capitol, the masthead running across the top. You don't see it; it doesn't jump out at you. But if you look at the poster, you will see
it's there.
The Capitol.
And we have permission from the Capitol. As you know, I'm a copyright hawk, so they've officially allowed me to use it. So and that's why I want to keep it subtle. There's a lot of subtlety, and actually it's hard to. You wouldn't see this online, but on the actual printed poster, you can actually see newsprint. Screen back
of the page just fading out.
Yeah, fading out into the design. So these are the fun things that you can do in print that's harder to capture online.
But as you look at Joe's artwork over the years, and hopefully you'll get some chances to see it during the film festival, but certainly we'll get to see this year's, take a real close look at it. And my recommendation is to think about what it represents to the artist, to the film festival, to you, and to our community. I think it speaks very loudly. Which is the strong voices.
Yep.
Again, that's there. I certainly hope you're going to be here for another however many years. Or
as long as they still have me, I'm game. Yeah.
I don't see. I mean, you've hit a home run every single year on this.
Thank you.
Personally, there's one that I don't like, but that's okay.
I know we talked.
That's okay.
You're not the only one, believe me.
And I will say that I like it a little bit more now that you explained a little bit more about it.
There's a lot more to it. Some are, as we said, some are very simple, and that one's we're talking about the Captain Crab, and of course
you said that, not me.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to be discreet. Is it cool for you as an artist to see opening graphic of a movie and all of a sudden there's your thing?
I live for this stuff.
Liver than life.
I think
larger than life is the word I was looking for.
That's why I love these graphics, giant screens, and they usually have it. They leave like when they do the talk. That's another fun thing. The question and answer period afterwards. They usually project the theme artwork on the background, and so I got pictures of Rob Reiner with my poster behind him, and these things I'll never leave. Just my great joy of just living here in Annapolis, being part of this great community we're part of, having great people from around the world coming here and just doing one little part, as an artist, being part.
Well, I and many, many others obviously thank you for this. How do we find out more about you?
You can. citizenpride.com is our retail company. That's where you see all the posters and house
car
flags.
Magnets and house flags,
all that stuff that's fun and people love, and that's my celebrating and loving. Even I love pride of our community, and that's why I call it Citizen Pride. And then for our design work, being a graphic designer, I did the Maryland Bay Plate, and I do a lot of commercial work,
corporate
stuff, business to business. Or identity at work, and that's Jeb Design. That's jbdesign.com.
Okay. And you could also go to Local by Design.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which is on the bottom of Main Street, down next to O'Brien's, or in the mall in a big store.
Yeah, next to the Apple store.
Check out that Local by Design, one of my favorite stores in town. Yep. If you ever need to get a gift, and I didn't mean to get into this, but if you ever need to get a gift for somebody and you don't know what to get them, go in there. There is bound to be something, whether it might be just a little hint of Maryland or just scream out Maryland.
Yeah, or nothing. A lot of us, a lot of local artists who just do things that are just cool.
Joe Barson, thank you very, very much for designing this for the 7th year in a row. I want to see you for another 7 for sure.
Cool.
Great job this year. This year is just incredibly special for so many.
Thank you. For me, it helped heal. Yeah.
We look forward to seeing it plastered all over the film festival on March 21st to 24th. And you can get your passes, which I do recommend you do at AnnapolisFilmFestival.com. And tickets are probably on sale right about now for individual things. But I don't say it's a hassle, but it's not the way to do a film festival.
Yeah, do the pass, all pass, or if you just can do one day, do the all-day pass for that day.
Makes all the sense in the world. Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Man, I can't wait. I was a fan in year 1, and my admiration of this event only grows more and more each year. Remember, get your passes now at AnnapolisFilmFestival.com. And again, this is John Fernay, the co-host of the Maryland Crabs podcast, and thank you for listening. Please take a moment and give us a rating wherever you get your podcasts. And as for the films, I'll see you at the Annapolis Film Festival. And remember, voices strong, minds open.
Was a non-stop Hollywood movie show. Fantasy world of celluloid villains and heroes. 'Cause celluloid heroes never feel any pain. And celluloid heroes never really die. Everybody's a dreamer, and everybody's a star, and everybody's in showbiz. It doesn't matter who you are. And for those who are successful, be always on your guard. Success walks hand in hand with faith.